All right, well, thanks, Rowan, for including Lewmar in your first Virtual Boat Show. What our topic is anchoring and docking systems. And, through the course of all the boat shows, we have a lot of customers that come in and they want to buy a windlass or an anchor or an whole anchoring system. And, they don't really know how to spec it out. There's a lot of different numbers associated with the equipment and how strong it is and what performance limits there are. So we're going to kind of walk through just kind of the basics of a system from scratch and what the pros and cons are of each style of windlass and anchors and anchor rods and go from there. So the anchoring system comprises of a couple different pieces. Obviously, there's the windlass, which actually physically pulls up and down the anchor. You've got a chain stopper, which is designed to hold the load or keep the anchor up in the roller when the boat's underway. You've got the bow roller, which actually holds the anchor on the bow of the boat, sets the interface between the boat and the system. You've got the rode, which is the rope and chain combination. Anchor swivel, which is the link between the anchor and the chain. The anchor itself. So we got two basic styles of windlass. We have the vertical windlass, which is the one on the left, and the horizontal on the right. You can see that one of these units is all pretty much above deck, and the chain comes through and wraps around the Gypsy at a 90-degree turn. And then the one on the right, the vertical, the rope and chain wraps 180 degrees down and goes down the hawsel. They both have their different benefits, different styles, and certainly different ways to easier mounting. So we'll run through this right now. The vertical windlass is typically what you see on larger boats, where you have more space down below deck in the anchor locker, which nice is they're a little bit lower, low profile on deck. They also a lot of times have a drum on top, which is great for sailors. It's serves as a utility winch. These are typically most common in the lower 30-foot boat range, all the way up to the big mega yachts. You'll see this vertical style. One real good benefit is that the motor is actually below deck, so it's out of the weather and it's not an obstruction. And you've got a good point of contact on the Gypsy because the chain wraps the whole 180 degrees around, so it's more prone to no slipping or overrides or indicate an issue that way. One of the negatives, though, is that it definitely requires more space in the anchor locker. We look at having at least 18 inches of minimum fall between the top of the line stack and the windlass. And if anything shorter than that, as the old saying, you can't push rope. You have feeding problems. The weight of the actual line going down through the hawsel is what helps it feed better. The horizontal windlass, obviously, one of the great benefits is that the whole windlass is up on deck. From an installation standpoint, very easy to install. You're only cutting one real hawse hole, and it's not a lot of you need to get your hand down inside the anchor locker with one hand and try to work the wrench on the other side and the outside, or have two people. It's a super easy installation. Low profile or smaller size, very compact. Like I said, if you've got a shallower anchor locker or a smaller boat, this is the direction you're going to want to go. So for these, we look at having a minimum of 12 inches of fall between the line stack and the windlass. So these are usually pretty popular on the center consoles, smaller boats where you have space is a real consideration. The components of the vertical windlass are, you've got the motor gearbox at the bottom part of the screen, which is going to be, it's a big worm gear drive style motor, pretty big and heavy, robust. That's going to be actually below deck. You'll have the deck unit itself. You'll have the Gypsy, which is actually what the rope and chain interfaces with. And then you'll have a stripper, which helps guide the line off of the Gypsy down the hole. And then obviously the drum, which is for secondary anchoring or a utility winch. And then the drive cap. Horizontal windlass, a lot less pieces to put together. The windlass itself is all contained into one bread box style unit. The motor's inside, the gears are all inside. So all you have exposed essentially is the Gypsy, the clutch nut, the friction cone, and the rope and chain control arm and stripper. These are significantly less parts, less to worry about, but they typically, they're not very powerful when it comes to overall max power. So the size range is only really work up to, the 40-foot range. We do offer one size of horizontal, which is quite a bit bigger, but physically on deck, it's quite a bit bigger unit than it would be for a corresponding vertical windlass. And some of the switch gear that we offer to go with the windlass anchoring systems, we've got from a helmet switch, which you'll have no matter wherever you drive the boat from, to a handheld remote, to deck switches. We do recommend that, if possible, put a pair of deck switches up the front so that the windlass can be operated from the bow of the boat so you can see what's going on. A lot of times from the helm, you can't see where the anchor is. And so as you're bringing the anchor back up, you don't really know whether the anchor is, hit home with the anchor in the chain or the bow roller. So it kind of prevents any kind of damage, or you can see what's going on and manage the anchoring process. We also offer a handheld remote. This one right here has both thruster control in it as well as windlass. So you can kind of walk around the boat and see what's going on and look and, and do the anchoring process from there. Safety devices. We recommend that you get some kind of mechanism to keep the anchor up in the bow roller when the boat's when you're not using it. It's possible for the clutch to slip and the anchor to actually deploy, or a little kid to hit the button by accident and put the anchor down. Or if you're a faster boat, the wave action can sometimes loosen up the clutch cone and accident deployment of the anchor. So a chain stopper fitted between the windlass and the bow roller is a good kind of sure hard stop to keep the anchor securely in its bow roller. You can also use this too for when you're actually at anchor. The cam can roll into place, actually take up the load off the windlass, and the actual hanging of the boat under load. The chain stopper can serve that function. A safety strap is something that you can put in place, which is kind of like a little lanyard with a clip. So once the anchor is up, you just snap it to like a chain, and it's kind of a secondary precaution so there's no you're not going to release the anchor out of the roller unnecessarily. If we come out of the anchoring, the anchor itself is the next piece of the anchoring system, and anchor is a pretty broad topic. Everyone's got an opinion on what the best anchor is, depending on where you boat, what kind of boat you have, what size. Are you going to be doing long range cruising or just stay anchored at the sandbar? So anchors come in all shapes and sizes and price points, and some are obviously better than others. Lewmar specializes in typically the plow style anchor, which is designed to work in conjunction with the windlass. The Delta is our most popular style in that plow style, and it is actually designed to essentially self-launch when you hit the down button. So it's really convenient for windlass hands-free operation, completely self-launching and weighted to go off the roller. Typically when people come into the boat show stand, they say, what size anchor do you recommend for a certain size boat? What we do is, a good rule of thumb is a pound of anchor for a foot of boat is a really good starting point. Obviously, if you were looking at the dance for the fluke style anchor, it's more physical size. The weight creates the holding power. But for the plow style or claw or scoop style, pound of anchor for a foot of boat is a good safe starting point for what the recommendation should be. Our Delta anchor is it's by far our most popular anchor. It's designed to it's a plow style. It's got a super high holding power, made of it meets a certain certification class for low age and all that. So it's it's fully sorted out, tested, and it's our go-to plow style anchor. Obviously, on the boat builder side, we probably sell this anchor to the high volume boat builders more than any other anchor out there. So you have to walk the boat show, you'll see plenty of these out in the field. One really great point of one really good feature of this anchor is that it's got a weighted tip. So when it's lying on the seabed and you start backing down on it, the point always wants to drive into the seabed and set and stabilize. So it sets very quickly, and if the boat were to turn in a wind shift and the anchor would pop out, resets very fast within, just a few feet. The DTX style anchor is essentially the same shape and characteristics of the Delta, but in a 316 stainless. This is our kind of our high volume stainless anchor. Looks as good as the stainless steel Delta, but it's the finish quality is not quite polished, so the price point is a little sharper, and it's reasonable for most boaters. The all stainless steel Delta has a pretty high price point, so it's definitely a notch above as far as the expense goes. The claw or Bruce style, this has been around for a long time. These were kind of the go-to more of a sand anchor. Obviously, you can see that it's got three different points of contact on the seabed on the flukes, and it's almost like the shape of an ice cream scoop. It's designed to take a real big bite out of the seabed, and it's the surface area and point of contact that what really drives it home, so wedges it in. This was the Bruce was the first real company to really kind of get this anchor going. A lot of the main builders have actually adopted the same style. Ours is called the Claw. We do quite a bit of them. A little lower price point, but they're definitely super strong in sand, and then they actually work well in the rocks as well, because they'll grab it, and you got a lot of bits and pieces to grab the seabed. And then lastly, we came out with last year an aluminum fluke style. Historically, Lewmar has been mostly serving the windlass market, and we found that after there was a whole other sector of boating public that we didn't really get a chance to interact with because we didn't have a fluke style. These are lightweight. You keep it in a locker, you toss over the side. Typically you won't see them use with windlass. It's more just under hand loads and that kind of thing. When you make this anchor out of aluminum, it's obviously lightweight, easy to manage on deck, they still, even with the lightweight, it still achieves very, very high holding power. When we were testing this anchor last year, we were amazed. Actually, it beat our the holding power of the Delta, which is our mainstay, by a factor of almost 3 for the size anchor. So very impressive holding power, and great addition to the Lewmar line. When it comes time to interfacing the anchor with the boat, the bow roller essentially is the avenue that is the exit point for the anchor to be held on the boat and then depart and have be the line guide for the road combination. The rollers are somewhat unique to each style of anchor. So as you're kind of searching for bow rollers in the specking process, you basically want to start with the anchor, figure out what that's going to be, and then work your way back from there. So the rollers, they're going to be sized to fit a certain size anchor and style to where the roller configuration is. Some of them are castering, so it helps the launching process. If you've got a boat that's got a little bit of upward angle on the bow, or there's different lengths as far as if you got a sharper bow stem to get the anchor away from the boat. So basically there's all shapes and sizes and configurations for different style anchor. We then want to look at the Gypsy Selection. Gypsy windlass grade chain is very specific in shape and size, and the Gypsies are cut to match that particular size chain. So if you have a windlass for a 40-foot boat, we may offer 3 different Gypsies available for it based on chain size to suit customers' needs. That windlass can handle on one Gypsy 1/4-inch chain. Then the 5/16 is probably the average size, up to 3/8. And so each of those chain sizes is going to actually have a different Gypsy to match it, because the chain pockets are cut to exactly fit that length of chain. And if you change the chain size, it'll be prone to slipping or won't grab quite right. And then obviously chain selection. Those Gypsies are only usually compatible with a couple different versions of chain. Typically, we support and recommend the ACO G4 chain, which is a high test calibrated chain, and it's calibrated so that the length is very consistent, and we find it works the best across the size range. The sizing requires the length, which is consistent. You can see obviously here that on the dimensions on the slide here that different manufactured chain have different link lengths. So obviously the ACO G4 is what works best across the range, so we want to go with that. And then in the United States, we typically see, at least with the smaller boats, most people like to have a rope chain combination. This is largely due to the fact that we don't anchor in typically that deep of water, and when running all chain, it's very heavy. So lighter displacement boats like to have a section of chain followed by a long section of line to kind of make your anchor rope. With these mixed roads, a good starting point for chain length is typically a foot of chain for a foot of boat. So I've got a 40-foot boat. You might see mid-30s to 40-foot chain length with 150 to 250 feet of line on top of that. Obviously with the windlass use, all of our windlasses are designed to work with both rope and chain until you get to much larger size windlasses. And in doing so, you've actually got to splice the rope and chain splice the rope right to the chain with a tapered back splice. This works really well with the Gypsy seamless operation. If you try to have a shackle or a thimble in there, it wouldn't go through the tight space of the hawse hole. So this is the most low profile and flexible way to get the rope and chain to work with the windlass. The 8-plate line is something we started seeing more and more about 10, 15 years ago. And it's pretty much now the standard road we offer. I would say we probably sell 80% of our roads are 8-plate to 3-strand. And the reason being is that the 8-plate is quite a bit softer line, and when it lays down in an anchor locker, it doesn't hold a memory. So you can typically fit a lot more line in the anchor locker with less volume. So boats with a smaller anchor locker, we look for that magic number of the fall length between the rope and chain and the windlass to help it feed right. When you have a smaller anchor locker, a lot of times 8-plate is the only way to achieve that maximum fall. So we're seeing more and more more and more popularity with the 8-plate, and the builders, I would say that the builders are almost 100% using 8-plate in the new boat fit outs. 3-strand obviously is similar to the dock line. It's super stretchy, traditional manufacturer line. Most people can splice these things very easily, so it's the do-it-yourselfers can, if they want to make up their own road, it's quite easier to splice than the 3-strand. One of the negatives, though, obviously, as it gets wet and older, the 3-strand holds a memory, and it can get really wiry over time, and so that will definitely, it won't sit quite as well in the anchor locker, and it may require some guidance to help feed right. Typically a 3-strand road that's a couple years old might need to be soaked in fabric softener to kind of soften back up again to make it more pliable to work with the windlass. It's just the salt and dirt and the drying and wetting process really makes it really firms the line up. So it's important to keep it soft and moving. When you first get the put a road in the anchor locker, it's really important to get it. Make space that you want to try and set yourself up for success. So having the line kind of stacked the right way and fed the right way on its own is important. So we recommend that when you're selling a new road, use the windlass to put it away the first time. Obviously, it goes through the water, plus it's going to feed itself the way it wants to lie, not just kind of pack it down the anchor locker and then having it make it snarl up on itself. So good picture here of kind of how the installation would be if you just kind of toss it in the anchor locker that first time versus first feed it in using the windlass.
Question for you, and we will cut it. So Hector, this has been a challenging year for all of us. And I know you got a double punch because you company changed ownership. Then
we've had a challenging, busy, and exciting year all at the same time. Last summer we were acquired by Lewmar Components, which is they are a accessory company for essentially the RV world. That's where they got started, and then from there they moved into the marine sector and have acquired a bunch of companies. But the most notable is tailor-made products, the fenders and dock equipment and that kind of thing. And so we were based in Guilford, Connecticut. We had a warehouse facility there, and where we've been for quite a long time. And as part of the process of growing and fitting into a new group, obviously TaylorMade has quite a big distribution facility up in New York. It made sense to kind of we all the same customers, so it made sense to kind of move the business up to upstate New York, or the warehouse, and let those guys, the machine, do its thing and service the customers from New York. Obviously, we did this in January. Moves aren't easy, and obviously had a lot of growing pains with that. And we had to go into a new system, and obviously there's always hiccups there. And then right when we started to get things smoothed out, that's when the COVID hit. And then New York was one of the most strict states in the country for the shutdown. So we actually ended up closing the warehouse for I think about 5 weeks, and right in the end of March basically through the month of April. So not only do we have a tough first quarter with a move, and then with the COVID shipping no products, the supply chain definitely was strapped for Lewmar products, and took us kind of a while to get ourselves back on our feet and shipping a lot of spare parts and smaller piece parts again. But I can confidently say that we're back to 100% and ready to service our customers.
Yeah, well, for us is I've been working with you guys for almost 20 years now.
Yep.
Directly, but yeah, almost 20 years. And it's always a challenge because our customers and Lewmar customers spread worldwide. And obviously the last year with the limited transportation and everything that's going on, having a true challenge, but I'm pleased that we has been able to fulfill most expectations and deliver on time. And when not, do all the efforts, and I appreciate your support on making sure that every customer gets their products as fast as possible, regardless if they are in the South Pacific or just around the corner.
We certainly appreciate your support. Obviously, you guys carry a vast assortment of our products. We've got a book that's a 3 inches thick that's been spanning over 30 years. That's a lot of spare parts and miscellaneous pieces and worldwide customers. So obviously, you guys have a very well-oiled machine on getting things out quickly and service your customers. So thanks for all the help you guys have given us this year, and be a good advocate for keeping our customers happy.
Yeah, it's a challenge on our end because when we started the business, it was just domestic, USA domestic. Now, taking Easter time, Florida time, we have to start like 2 o'clock in the morning when we start supporting our customers in Europe, and then we end up at 11 o'clock at night with the ones in our friends in Australia. So it's a true global 24/7 business now. Not what I expected when we decided, let's build a sailing store, but it's been a nice ride, and obviously Lewmar is.
We have customers all parts of the world, and obviously your name comes up quite a bit, depending whether you're Australia, the Far East, or even England these days. So,
well, we will do our best, and I'm sure we are going to be talking for the next 20 more years. So, I hope this format helps, as there is no boat shows.
Yeah, this is, obviously, we're excited to be a part of this, for different year, but, you guys did a great job of kind of getting the industry back together and, kind of keeping the fall boat shows alive.